Hi, YouTube! We're back. It's like you've been gone forever, but for me, it was literally 5 seconds. So, we finished our randomizer pretty quickly, all things considered, today, so I figured, why not? Let's do a tier list. The best, or I should say the best, my favorite Zelda games. Now, to get some stuff out of the way, I have not played Oracle of Ages or Oracle of Seasons or the Minish Cap. They are on my list, and now that they're available on the Switch library, I'll probably be getting to them very soon, but I have not played them yet. So, won't be talking about those. But I think we'll go in order. Some of these, the memory's going to be a little foggy, because it's been a really long time since I played them, but I do recall actually enjoying these. So this is... I can't tell what that is. I think it's Four Swords. Oh, it's Link to... Okay, it's Four Swords. Link to the Past and Four Swords, but mostly the first Four Swords game. I'm going to put that in B. You know, most Zelda games didn't have co-op, so it was actually real fun to get to experience that. It was hard at the time because it was a Game Boy Advanced game. Is it Game Boy Advance or Game Boy? Zelda Four Swords. It was a Game Boy Advance game. But either way, you needed the link cable. There was no Wi-Fi. There was no direct connecting back in the day. So you had to have the link cable, and you had to have 4 friends within direct proximity of you to play the game. I think I only did a co-op with my buddy Joe, but it was a lot of fun. A Link to the Past. Classic, quintessential 2D Zelda. I would say most people, probably like a bit older than me, might have this as their #1 game. Like, favorite Zelda game of all time. But yeah, extremely polished. Very good dungeons, the world, exploring it. You didn't really have to do things necessarily in a distinct order. It was just a teeny bit... I was just a teeny bit too young to, like, truly appreciate it. But, I did enjoy it a lot. But personally, if you're going to pick a 2D Zelda to play, A Link Between Worlds is so good. If you could somehow polish a pristine diamond even further of, you know, A Link to the Past, Link Between Worlds completely opens up how you approach the game with the item rental system. You can go about going through the dungeons whatever order you want. All the collectible findings, great. Finding the little Mai-Mais. All the side quests. The mini games as well. The baseball mini game is annoying but fun. The bosses themselves, just the combat, everything about it. Just the wall mechanic too. The wall melding mechanic turning into a painting and going into the wall led to really creative dungeon designs, really creative puzzles. Play A Link Between Worlds. Very good game. Very fitting that we're playing this song right now. Breath of the Wild ruined other open world games for me. Before that, I probably would have said either like Skyrim, or I'd kind of considered Assassin's Creed Black Flag's kind of open world, just with the sailing aspect. There's a few like loading areas that you went into in Assassin's Creed Black Flags. But in every open world game though that I still played, there's still like some constricting elements. There was still like, okay, you have to get to this collectible, but to get to this collectible, there's this really, really narrow path that you have to go through. So it's like open world hallway, or the open world, like you'd be playing a game, and it's just like, okay, here's the open world. It's all nice, but I want to navigate to this specific thing. And then usually there'd be like a mini map that's like down here, or, you know, over here. And my eyes would be here, not the world. And Breath of the Wild was able to keep the focus on the world. You would set, you know, a waypoint, and on your mini map, you would, you know, you'd have the waypoint there, and like it would be basically in the direction that you need to go. So you, in the viewfinder, see the landmark you want to do, you mark it, and then you just, you have your bearing basically on your mini map, but then your focus is on, okay, how do I get to that place? And being able to climb and do all those different aspects and stuff like that, not really constricting you at all in terms of how do I get to these spots. Just, I loved how you interacted with that world. I loved how they basically baked in puzzle solving into your navigation of the world, as well as all the different shrines, finding those different things. The combat, I loved the combat in Breath of the Wild. It was just a nice, fresh take on the whole series, while still having that Zelda charm. And then you got the added voice acting, all the characters. Fuck Rivali, but all the other characters, Urbosa, best girl, best lady. She's a lady. Yeah, Breath of the Wild, so good. Like, and I played Horizon Zero Dawn right after that, and again went back to, hey, there's this collectible. You have to follow this specific path up this cliff in order to get to that collectible. Whereas Breath of the Wild, just like, okay, I'm just gonna climb that cliff, and if I don't have the stamina, I'm just gonna, you know, figure a way around to like find certain handholds, get to a spot that I can stand, regain my stamina. Like, again, puzzle solving just to climb up a thing, not find the yellow path and then just follow it. And then like Red Dead was the other problem, where it's just like I set a waypoint, and I'm not looking at the vast open world. I'm looking at my mini map to make sure I'm still on the road to get to wherever I need to go. Breath of the Wild, very good. 4 Swords Adventures, I'll put that above 4 Swords, because again, it's just a coat of polish on that co-op aspect. And I think it was on the GameCube. You played it, I think, still on the GameCube controller, but then like you could have the plug for the Game Boy Advance to then like you go into like the Game Boy Advance mode and can like do little puzzle solving things. There's a lot of cool little mechanics with the game. And I think there was like friendly fire and stuff, so you could like pick up one of your friends and like toss them just to get them out of the way, or if you want to get treasure yourself. It's a lot of fun. If you have a group of friends, you have either the game itself or other means. 4 Swords, very fun. Do they have... They don't. I'm going to put Link's Awakening above A Link to the Past. And this is including the remake. The remake is a very, very charming game. And it's just like, it was Nintendo. They just decided to throw a bunch of their other characters into this game in some way, shape, or form. There's a Chain Chomp. Kirby is an enemy that you kill in one of the dungeons. A lot of just like weirdness. It's like, is Link tripping balls? Is he actually on an island somewhere? What's going on? Figuring out the mystery. Trying to wake up the Windfish. More just 2D Zelda goodness. Majora's Mask. Now, you know what? I'm gonna put this up here just because this, I'm going by favorite, not what I consider best. Majora's Mask at one point was tied for best Zelda game for me. But, with Breath of the Wild. Majora's Mask, again, a coat of polish on what they established in Ocarina of Time. but you just have this added looming dread, literally and figuratively, with the moon and the day-night cycles and having the 3 days. And just how much anxiety you have where you're like super close to being a dungeon and you're like, I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. I'm not gonna be able to beat this. I'm not gonna beat this. I have to reset. I have to reset. It's gonna reset the whole dungeon. I have to reset. I have to do it. The moon's gonna crash. I'm gonna die. I have to do it. Like, especially as a kid when you're not as like well-versed in, you know, time management when you really need it in this game. Is so good. The game is so dark for a Zelda game, and just subtly at times too. I go back to this all the time, but and I only actually truly realized this as an adult. So so there's the ranch. If you go through the whole ranch submissions, you fight the aliens away, and you know everybody's all happy on the ranch, but you don't beat the game. As the moon is falling, you go to the ranch, you go into the barn, you see Romani, the little sister, and she goes, hey, Cremia, the older sister, is gonna let me try Chateau Romani for the first time. And in this universe, that milk is alcoholic for whatever reason. So you talk to Romani, she's all happy, all fun and games. You talk to Cremia, it is just ... and a solemn face. Then they start walking back to their house from the barn, and you talk to Romani, she's like, see you tomorrow morning. And then you talk to Cremia, and she's like, yeah, see you tomorrow. Like, just dead, just straightforward, no happy face, just deadpan face. And then you just realize that she is getting her sister drunk, so she does not feel the weight of the moon crashing into her and killing her. And it's like, okay. All right, Zelda. We went there, and then it's just like, so, I mean, just like with all the stuff where it's just like, not Darunia, oh, fuck. The name of the Goron, the spirit of the Goron mask. Goron mask, Majora's mask. Darmani. It was like he was trying to save Snowhead. He was trying to save his village, and he died before he could save his village. Maiku, the Zora, again, went to Great Bay Temple to try and save his village. Got mortally wounded, died. Or no, he was trying to save the eggs. Died. Trying to go, like, the Gerudos killed him, basically. The son of, the Deku Butler. Where it's just like, the Skull Kid, like, killed him, basically, when in between, the Lost Woods and getting into the Clock Tower in Termina. And like, in the end cutscene, you just see him like weeping in front of that weird mangled Deku corpse thing. The Skull Kid, just a sad little crazy imp. I love the Skull Kid so much just because, you know, Ganondorf is just like all like conniving, like I am the best thing. And the Skull Kid just like, I am going to have my fun my way. And you can't mess with me now. People used to be able to mess with me. People abandoned me. I have my own power now. I love Majora's Mask. The original Legend of Zelda. I'm going to put that atop of B tier. I said I still think this game holds up. With the simplistic control scheme. Just the sense of adventure, wandering around, trying to find your way through these dungeons and what have you. There's some things, obviously, that, like, you have to rely on just a lot of trial and error if you don't know what to do. Bombing certain things, what have you, bombing walls that don't appear bombable, etc., etc. But overall, I think the game is very fun. Still, finding all the different secrets, all the different memes. Dangerous to go alone. Take this. Classic piece of gaming that I still think is very playable, very accessible, and can hold up. All right, here we're getting into games that I don't like. Do I put into D tier? Yeah. I'm actually going to put Spirit Tracks here because I never beat it. I stopped playing it. I would assume it'd probably be C tier because it is a bit better than Phantom Hourglass, but I really did not like Phantom Hourglass. I am not a fan of the DS control scheme where you have to like swipe and touch to move and all that different stuff. Just the controls were not to my liking. The fact that you had to go back to that same dungeon over and over and do the same stuff over and over just to get a little deeper, a little higher. I forget which way it went. I blocked most of that game from my memory, but again, just with that fact, the dungeons to me weren't that memorable. Lineback was like, all right, in terms of being a fun side character, and just, yeah, not the biggest fan. I'll put, because this was this wasn't infuriatingly hard. It was just annoying. So I'll put this in C. Skyward Sword. Oh, put the bottom of B. I weirdly think this controls better on the Wii than the Switch, on the remake. I really think that sensor bar for the Wii really helps with keeping the gyro locked. I know most of the current motion control games like Metroid Prime, Skyward Sword, those remakes, there's like a button to like immediately reset your gyro to like whatever. But you didn't have to do that on the Wii. So I kind of like the Wii version more. But before Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I would have said this is the best Zelda story. I really like that Zelda is your friend. She's not a princess. You're both just kind of thrust into destiny. There's just like certain little things here and there where like every time Link is about to go into a dungeon, you see him like mentally prepare himself and then walk in, just like builds up the courage and keeps going to save his friend. Has one of the best side characters in all of Zelda and Groose. You start off hating his fucking guts, and then he becomes the biggest Chad in Zelda lore. Where it's just like, okay, I'm not gonna get the girl. I'm just going to help you in your quest as well as take care of this old lady. Groose is awesome. That man, after he goes through his arc, deserves all the happiness in the world. He is awesome. Has mechanically, one of the worst companion characters in Fee. They toned it down severely in the remake, I will say. But I did feel things in the final cutscene when she seals herself in the Master Sword forever. And it's always, like, since that game came out, especially with the more recent games, when it's like, you hear her sound effect when the Master Sword, like, you know, is speaking to Zelda or Link. You hear the chime, the Fee chime. Makes me feel things. It's nice. But if you can't get around the motion controls, you're not going to have a good time. That's why I kind of have it a bit lower. But it's like that, and then you go back to the same areas a lot. There's a lot of repetition in the game. You unique areas to go to and experience. So there's that. Wind Waker. See, this is where it gets hard. I'm putting Wind Waker at the bottom of S. I'm gonna have a very high S tier just because or a very thick S tier just because there's a lot. Wind Waker, especially the remake, is I'll call it the traditional 3D Zelda at its peak. So it's like they built up from Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask, and to me, Wind Waker is the best controlling, the best mechanics of a 3D Zelda. The movement's crisp, the combat is really fun and engaging, especially with the little quick time events. All the items in the different item play are really fun. The sailing, the exploration was as close to open world as we got before Breath of the Wild by going from the different islands. All the characters are fun. Errol, Grandma, Tetra, King of the Red Lions. Has one of my favorite cutscenes in all of Zelda when Ganon decks the shit out of Link. When he, like, vaults at the camera and is like, ha! Like, freeze frames. Yeah, if you're... This is Wind Waker sub-boss theme? Or no, this is Molduga. Very good bosses, very good dungeons across the board. Especially with like the companion dungeons. They're like add a layer of like, I'll call it good annoyance. Where it's just like there's times where it's like, okay, your allies over here, they get captured or something and what have you, but like it's intentional and like it's meant to be a bit frustrating for the reward at the end. Play Wind Waker. Twilight Princess. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of A. By far has the best companion character in all of Zelda. In Midna. One of my favorite songs in all of Zelda. Hold on. Wait, do I have a cover of this song? I don't know if I do for... I know I do in my chill playlist. I don't think I do. All right. One of my favorite Zelda tracks of all time. But yeah, just again, she starts off as a little imp, a bit annoying, but then it's just like she slowly starts opening up, then this part of the game happens and you're like, oh my god, save her, save her. And then you get to the ending and you're like, oh, okay. Probably the weakest Zelda of the games, just because she's just she is the monarch, and that is about it. You don't really forge a connection with her at all. But the Wolf Link gameplay was fun and different. To the final version. Let's be clear. The end game, Midna. Don't say normal or imp Midna. I'll report you. What was I thinking? Side characters, like the kids are good. Is it Ilya? What's her name? Hold on. Oh, a remastered version. Zelda. Did I get it right? I did, Ilya. Okay. Hey, I'm just saying what I saw. For that version of Midna, you are not incorrect. But side characters besides Midna are a bit lacking in Twilight Princess. Ganon's design in this game is fucking cool. One of just my favorite scenes of him is once you get to that final boss scene where he's just sitting on the throne waiting for you. Just strikes an image. The final boss fight with Ganondorf in this game. It's like, you know, you fight Puppet Zelda, then you fight Beast Ganon. Then you have the horseback, which was like, this is the game that first introduced horseback combat, which is really fun. In which you fight Ganondorf on horseback. And then you go fucking mono. No magic fights, none of that stuff. You just both have swords. The fight starts, Ganondorf just holds his swords back, and then you hear Twilight Princess Ganondorf battle. Remastered. Where's it at? Not orchestrated. I don't want remixes. All right, fine. Just hear these drums. And it's Demon King Ganondorf. And it's just mono going up, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, man, let's go! So, one of my favorite boss fights of Ganondorf in any game. It's just that the game controls a bit scuff at times. Not as nearly as much polish in the movement as Wind Waker. And then just, again, there's like narrow hall syndrome on certain areas. It didn't feel as open as Wind Waker. Like, honestly, the gap between Wind Waker and Twilight Princess is like this minuscule. They're both very, very good games, but if I had to make a cut somewhere between S and A tier, it's gonna be here. Now, Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. I fucking hate this game. It is not a Zelda game almost in the slightest. The open world traversal is more akin to Final Fantasy than anything. It has a RPG leveling system, which is nowhere near, like, not in any other Zelda game out there. You have, like, experience points that you gain by defeating enemies, which then you can level up your strength, your health, and your magic. And you need to level that stuff up to really have any sort of chance in the dungeons. The dungeons are brutal. The enemies are brutal. The final dungeon is fucking astronomically brutal. To the point where when I first started streaming, I was trying to go through all the Zeldas in the lead up to Breath of the Wild. And thankfully the developers did give you a boon for getting to the final dungeon. So in Zelda 2, if you died and you did not have any lives, there's also lives in this game. If you did not have any lives left, you started back where you start the game, which is in just like some little dinky village. I forget where. But if you were like in some dungeon across the map and you died and you lost all your lives, guess what you gotta fucking do again? Go all the way across the map to get back to that damn dungeon to beat it. The only dungeon that it doesn't do that is the final dungeon. And because the gauntlet to get to the final dungeon is also fucking brutal. It's not a fan. I have beat it once. I am never playing it again. Unless it's like for stream, for like some kind of sub donation goal or something. Beyond that, no. I do not. I played it once. I don't ever have to play it again. Oops. Nope. Where'd it go? There we go. And I feel like to no one's surprise. So, to talk about these two. Ocarina of Time has been my favorite Zelda game for a very, very long time. For very sentimental reasons. My one cousin who passed away when I was very young gave me his copy of Ocarina of Time. It was at some family gathering, like a Thanksgiving or something. He had brought it over. He had his guidebook. He had his Nintendo 64. He had Ocarina of Time. Booted up a new file. He helped me get through the Deku Tree. And then we got to Hyrule Field. And I would have been like 8 or 9 at the time. And just and like, you know, this is one of the first 3D games that I ever played. Just seeing the big open world, the wonder is I was a gamer from that point. And when he saw how much I loved the game, he gave me his copy. He had already beaten it, and he's just like, here's the game, here's the guidebook. Go have fun. And still have the copy of the game. The guidebook unfortunately got deteriorated due to time. But but due to just like that family aspect of it, Ocarina of Time has been my favorite game just in general forever, and it also, I mean, obviously led to my love of the series. But Tears of the Kingdom, just from a pure quality, like, you know, objectively thinking about it and what have you, if I had to, like, these are probably tied, these two. But Tears of the Kingdom was, it again, Nintendo is very good about polish. Especially from, like, a game that is built upon, like, the same engine. Oh, wait. Those guys are fun. But yeah, like sequential games where it's just like they build upon an engine, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and what have you, even like into the remakes, they are able to just take something that was good and just make it even better, or something that was great and make it even better. And all that they add into Tears of the Kingdom, adding the depths, adding the sky, the building mechanics, having such creativity and freedom with how you traverse the lands. Side characters also awesome and fucking great. Riju, best girl. There was really no, like, there wasn't a Rivali in this game that I hated, like, vehemently hated. All the characters were really good. There's like certain aspects, just like me being a Zelda nerd, where it's like, oh, Rauru? Is that like an Ocarina of Time callback? It's like, no, it's the first king. He's like, those little aspects that like, yeah, I got annoyed and griped by. But across the board, the game was so good. I mean, I streamed the entirety of it. You guys saw. I've also, to capture footage for a video that I'm making, an AMV, I beat the game again. I blitzed through it, but I played the game twice. And I'm going to 100% it eventually. I did for Breath of the Wild. So, I have to do it now. But, yeah. These, like, if I had to venture a guess, this would probably go in C tier, because these two played very similarly. And these would be shuffled somewhere between B and A, if I had to give a rough guesstimate as to my enjoyment of Ages, Seasons, what have you. And I've never played the Zelda CDI games. That might be something to do on stream as well, because I never played those. I just have to figure out how to get those working. But I've never put myself through that, but for, you know, people's enjoyment, why not? But yeah, that is from the biggest Zelda fan that I know. Tier list of my favorite Zeldas. I did see that, where it's just like they have like ways to play it on PC. Like there's actually a very dedicated speedrunning community to the Zelda CDI games. To get like stuff up and running, and like it's a very active community actually. But yeah, this is my tier list for my favorite Zeldas of all time, roughly in order, and might go and revise this at some point once I have Minish Cap and the Oracles of Ages and Seasons done. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. YouTube, hope you guys are enjoying yourselves, and we'll see you next video. If I do another random tier list or something like this, we have time on a stream. Who knows? Catch you later. Bye-bye.